Hello everyone, welcome to the Omniverse of Nick, and part 5 to What If Cliffjumper Survived. Now before we get into this part, which has quite a lot in terms of the story, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick so you don't miss any stories. We can help grow the channel, and we can help make more stories that will appease not only the people we have here, but future people to come. And with all that out of the way, we shall begin today's part of the Cliffjumper tale. Last time, Starscream was officially let into the Autobot base, but he ain't good. He's just under management because Cliff's alive, so there'd be no reason for him to go off on his own. Yet. And he's very valuable. Just like the Energon, the synthetic formula Energon device that Miko ran into in canon, and then Bulkhead got that formula in him and everything. Yeah, that's not gonna happen because Miko ain't there. So it's questionable, and possibly like one of the Autobots or Cons would run into it and then Bulk would just get it that way. But honestly, I really don't think that that would happen. Rather, Ratchet would study upon it and get the synthetic formula that way, except I think that while it wouldn't be more advanced than it was, it would be a little bit better, and he would still try to test it on himself. Be it if Fowler was around, if he was alone, and it's a new base because the whole Scraplet thing, and he tested on him regardless because Ratchet. And with that, also, RC is not going to get cornered by the Cons in the pursuit of the Energon because Cliff is there to assist her, and he would fight the Cons alongside RC, or at least try to avoid them. Ratchet would pull up over the comm signal and tell Cliff and RC to get the Energon, and just he'll bridge them back to base. Because even if there's two of them and the whole team, they can't do this by themselves. And it's a hunt for Energon, and mainly because he has the synthetic Energon and he wants to fight. But Cliff over the comm signal just tells him, no Ratchet, we got this. We'll be able to handle getting the Energon and taking care of the Cons. But Ratchet's just like, don't be a fool, and he really wants to get in there and help because the Synthen. And with that, he also brings up the fact to Cliff that someone very reliable, the one who even made up the idea in the first place, needs to watch over Starscream. And while it's arguable that Cliff would just say, why can't you? He does know that Starscream could pull some tricks, especially on Ratchet. And not to be rude, but he's the weakest out of all of them. So Cliff reluctantly bridges back with RC, or at least retreats, and Starscream is left just sitting in his own little area in the Autobot base, just like taking all of this in, pretty much. After that, Ratchet just does his whole thing about taking care of the Cons in a very, very enthusiastic style with the synthetic Energon, and they return to base. After that, the Autobots get to see firsthand the synthetic Energon. And like I said, I would like to believe that it's at least a little tiny bit more controllable, but honestly, it was even uncontrollable when Knockout tested it, so I really wouldn't promise anything in the regards of that, because that was way later when Knockout was testing it. Either way, Cliff is there to also see the effects of it and know why Ratchet wanted to help so much. Whenever Ratchet is still told by Optimus to stay behind and just to be the medic, and Ratchet's going to sneak the synthetic Energon that second time, he doesn't get the chance because of a certain someone in the base. He then, right before he grabs it, feels his chest explode with pain. Starscream had seized the opportunity and impaled Ratchet the same way he did with Cliffjumper. So in this story, Ratchet takes Cliffjumper's death. Ratchet just looks up at Starscream, just a mixture of anger and confusion, but he should have expected this, and just his dying gasp there, he's able to still function with the Synthen holding him from dying, because Megatron impaled him, or at least punched him really hard, but he's still dying. And Starscream just looks down at him saying, you really shouldn't have hogged that Synthen for yourself, and you just gave me the perfect opportunity to take advantage of you Autobots. And not only will this give me the perfect advantage against Megatron, but Prime and your little friends are all doomed now that Starscream has the synthetic energy. This is Starscream speaking, obviously. And with that, it should have been obvious. I have a what-if plan for Starscream joining, but this wasn't it, obviously. It's about Cliffjumper. And he swipes the Synthen, blows up a part of the base as a distraction, and yeets himself out of there in plane mode. And with that, Starscream's on his own, and the bots just see a dying and now dead Ratchet on the ground, covered in Synthen under him. Prime is utterly torn apart, because if you've seen the live actions, Optimus was furious when Ratchet died. And the same would apply here, because Ratchet was his closest friend, the one who'd been with him since he was Orion Pax. And Cliff, he should have known. He really, really just expected Starscream to take advantage of this. He knew he had a gut feeling, and he just... Starscream was never going to come around to them, that he was just waiting for an opportunity. He feels like it's half his fault. Fowler comes in to see what all the commotion was about because of the rocket explosion and all the yelling, but then he sees Ratchet's body on the ground, covered in Synthen, and it's like, yeah, kind of an awkward and bad time to go ahead and yell. And meanwhile, Starscream is just flying away until he reaches the Harbinger, where Arachnid found the immobilizer and where Starscream and Cannon set up shop. And he's going to do the same here with Synthen. He empowers himself with it, and now we have Starscream with synthetic energon. And with this gives him a sense of just morale, because he's not like the Cannon Starscream who just flew off and just waited. This is giving him like the real morale to do something, and he finds the clones in the ship like Cannon pretty much a season early. And with that, we have Starscream clones, but with synthetic energon, meaning these are stronger clones. With this, Starscream's whole plan thing is coming way earlier, but he's not going to exact it yet, because he feels a disturbance within the Earth. The rubble beneath them is sort of shaking, it's quivering. And him and the clones go inside the Harbinger and decide that they're going to wait to attack either Megatron or the bots, especially since he killed one of them. He's done a good deed to him. And they just need him and the clones to analyze what's going on before they go and exact revenge on Megatron. Meanwhile, the Autobots grieve heavily for the death of Ratchet, way more so than Cliffjumper, even though Cliffjumper was referenced throughout the entire dang series. And Optimus especially would be heartbroken by this. And even though he feels responsible, even though it was his closest friend, and even though Starscream has destroyed a part of their base, swiped the Synthen, and killed a dear comrade, all of what they've been through, they're still here. So they need to worry about Starscream at a later point, whatever. For now, they need to worry about the eventual, and this would span over the course of that episode and into the next, the eventual rising of Unicron the Destroyer, which they don't know yet, but Prime has suspicions. And they also got to worry about Megatron and things like that. But Cliff and other bots start to speak up about the matter, because Cliff says he feels really responsible for the death of Ratchet because he's the one who brought Starscream in and recommended the idea. So if anything, this is his fault. Starscream is after him from the get-go, so he's gonna really take this hard. And RC, she can't bear to see her partner, who's always been, like, courageous and, like, you know, easygoing, to be in this state of, like, slump, to feel like he failed as a team member. And this hits her hard, too. And Bulkhead hits him hard, and B, everybody. And Bulkhead says, what are they going to do about a ground bridge now? I mean, all the bots know how to manage the ground bridge, but Ratchet was the main one behind that. He was always doing it. It's going to be harder without him around. And after some silence and some thinking, Fowler decides to pluck up courage. And he tells the bots he will manage the ground bridging operations and talk to his superiors to have more time here with the bots, since they are at his hangars. And that he had seen, even though he wasn't around all the time, especially since they moved bases way earlier than in canon, he got to see Ratchet perform with the ground bridge a lot more. So that means the Fowler is actually the best choice at this time to be able to manage the ground bridge. So the bots are like, you know, it's like the whole Ratchet thing, but it's the best that they can work with. Meanwhile, Megatron hears about the whole Starscream incident and that he's just off somewhere, and that one of the Autobot signals seemingly has disappeared. But he pays mind more to the prophecy of him and the Dark Energon. But when the Autobots arrive there and attack the cons for the power source, the humans aren't involved, meaning Raphael isn't shot, and Optimus and Bulkhead still, along with Cliffjumper, head aboard the ship and steal back the power source. So the only difference here is that Raphael does not get shot and Bumblebee is there with the bots. So, yeah, we don't have that whole thing. And then Optimus says once they steal back the power source, that there's something he must do. And Cliff already knows. He wants to go and fight Megatron, and he gears up his guns, ready to accompany Optimus. But Optimus tells him with an immediate no, with utter sternness. They just lost Ratchet. And it was a heavy blow to not only the bots, but him too. He will not endanger another bot, especially since Cliff, he doesn't hold this against him, but Cliff has been on not only Starscream's radar, but the cons. That would just make him an even heavier target. He will not lose another bot today. He will end Megatron personally, and then they will deal with Starscream at a later date. And this time, they'll deal with him proper. And he means this. Cliff, although he really wants to make up for what he pretty much did, him and Prime both for letting Starscream in, he agrees because he was loyal to Optimus. With this, we get the Optimus versus Megatron fight 2 at the volcano where Unicron is erupted and brought to life again. How will this fight go? Will Prime actually kill Megatron? How will Unicron's thing go? Who will get the key to Vector Sigma, and what will happen with Starscream and the clones later on, especially with Synthetic Energon? And if they manage to make it past Unicron and the rest, what's left for the bots?
Why am I asking you all these questions?
Find out in the next episode on the Omniverse of Nick. You guys didn't think this was the end of the video, did you? Well, the Omniverse of Nick has a new feature. A sneak peek at what's next to arrive.